This is Devon Graves from Psychotic Waltz, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
Brutally Delicious!
Hey, you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. I am Bruce.
And I'm Kris.
Today we've got Devon from Psychotic Waltz. It's a band that's been around for a really long time, and they have that cool classic metal sound. I don't know if you've been listening to them at all. I know I've been doing some research on them, and I love it.
Yeah, me too. You know, I threw it on before because you know me, I'm always really prepared. So as we were going to this podcast live, I was actually listening to it, and it was mind-numbingly good. I'd never heard of these guys before, and it appears as though they were quite a big metal band, you know, back in the 90s.
I definitely remember hearing from them in the past, and I hadn't heard from them in a while, but I guess they were kind of dormant and doing whatever they were doing for a bit. So it'll be nice to talk to them. We'll go ahead and get Devon on the line.
Let's do it.
Delicious UK. I thought I would be speaking to a cogni bloke.
Does it say UK?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
It's United Kingdom.
Oh.
He is a
Nice.
typical fucking Yankee. He just knows, he only knows about the United States.
Oh my God!
Oh,
I don't know where the UK came from. Whatever.
It should say USA here. I would have had a heads up. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Talking to a homeboy.
You are.
What are you doing?
Anyway,
do you live in Austria?
Yeah. I've been here 20 years.
Oh,
I still don't speak German. Yeah.
You still don't speak German?
No, not very well.
so how does that work out with the difference between the guys out in California and you? Is it just you fly back and forth, or is it more internet based?
More internet based. Yeah, we the only times we meet each other is when we have concerts. You know, in fact, it's like right when the boots hit the soil, that's when we just play for the first time. You know, those guys rehearse out there all together, but I rehearse myself alone. And then when we come together and actually play, usually the very first time we do that is on stage the first night of the whatever gig.
Really?
Yeah.
And I guess it's worked out for you all these years. So.
Well, I mean, the original years I used to be in California, for the first leg of the career in the 90s, we all lived out there.
Right.
And we practiced all the time together, but I still kind of, when it came to writing my vocals and stuff, I usually had to take that home and bring a little 4-track recorder. I don't know how old you are, if you know what a 4-track.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's how we started out. And I had 2 tracks of the band just with 2 microphones, and then 2 tracks left for me, and I'd take that home and put the melodies and vocals together, and then either play them that tape or sing it for them. So it's kind of the same now when I'm writing my parts. It's just that I get to write to multi-tracks, and I'm not using the 4-track anymore.
Right.
But I like to kind of go away and really concentrate on my part. I try out 4 or 5 different song ideas for a song sometimes. And I don't want to share anything unless I really love it, because I don't want to hear the criticism of what I already know sucks,
Right.
Yeah. So
Kris?
Yeah. Hey,
that's about it.
I have a strange question. You have the best voice quality of anyone that's ever phoned in. What mic are you using?
SM7B.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I actually don't hear any, any sound of my own voice. I'm just kind of speaking into the thing, kind of like my Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And,
no, it's
Nice.
cool. I run 2 mics at home here, but I've never heard the quality come over Skype as good as it is from you right now.
Oh, good to hear that.
That's good. It's an expensive mic. I mean, it's a good mic. That's for sure.
It's one of the cheapest ones here in this room, but it's one of the best.
Oh, really? Do you have your own studio?
Yeah, I'm sitting in it. I have an amazing studio.
What?
For a home studio, it's pretty damn cool. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm a recording.
Check out. I'm sorry. You can check out. You can take a look at it. It's called epicsoundstudios.com. Or epicsoundproductions.com. Either one get you to the same, just one word, and you can take a look around.
Jesus.
Kris is a gear nerd, so I think this podcast just took a twist.
Oh yeah, and you got the old Control 24 in there.
Well, it's the C24. It's the newer one. Well, it's newer. It's 10 years old.
Yeah. Are you still running on Pro Tools 10 then?
No, I got Pro Tools 7. I have. Check this out. I have a Mac G5.
Oh my
powered
God.
PC and I have this DigiDesign expansion chassis, and it's stuffed with 7 Axel cards, and it's and the thing just runs like an army tank. I put solid state hard drives in the Mac.
Yeah.
Maxed out at a massive 8 gigabytes of memory, but I'm running Pro Tools 7, and it doesn't need all that memory, and it just kicks ass. I have as many tracks as I want with SSL plugins all over the place. I don't even think about opening plugins. Like, I don't even think about DSP or processing power. I never
those
run
old
out.
Excel cards were real workhorses.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get them for like a penny on the dollar nowadays, because they're obsolete.
Yeah.
That you can put together a rig that used to cost like $50,000. You can get it now for a couple of hundred. You just got to put up with outdated plugins. You can't buy any of the new plugins. There's some pretty cool new stuff that's out.
Yeah.
That I can't even. Anytime I get a email from any plugin manufacturer, I just send it right to the trash because it doesn't apply to me.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're like on your site here. It just says real guitars, real amps, real drums, real players, real music. So you're basically just using it as a tape machine. Right.
I mean, I use the processing, but with all those DSP cards, I'm not counting. I got look, it's really simple work tools for me. I'm still very old school. It's just basically delay, reverb, EQ, compression, pitch shifting. That's really all I work with. The same things we always used to work with.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just a matter of if you learn those, if you spend your time learning those, it's a lot better than jumping ship and getting a new DAW every year or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to relearn everything, and basically it's the same old principles. So I put my money in hardware, microphones or preamps or instruments, like just get a real instrument of some sort, a set of congas or whatever, and all of that stuff is going to last you your whole life.
Oh, totally. And we'll talk about your band, but as soon as I see your studio, I'm gonna geek right out. So,
oh yeah, we're here to talk about his band. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But I just need to know about your mic collection. What's your favorite mic?
Well, this SM7 works like every time, but I just got this new mic. It's a Telefunken. They call it the Copperhead.
Okay.
And it's like they manufactured this thing basically off the shelf parts, but it's like they found some of these old Telefunken tubes that were, I don't know, I think they were used in the first Neumann mic, this thing called a U29, I think.
Wow.
Mic. And they found like a whole bunch of new old stock of this. So they built a mic around that, and they just outsourced the transformers and the capsules and everything else and put together this mic that's not that expensive. It's like $1,600, but it sounds like a million, man. It sounds like it's like a mix between a U47 and an Elam 251. It's somewhere like between those two. Really good, really nice microphone.
Well, there's something that I always wonder about when people talk about mics, when they say something sounds like a U47, because I've used so many U47s and none of them sound anything alike.
None of them.
And they all sound different. Like the same mic can sound different from day to day.
That's very true. I have this one that I've used from the whole Dead Soul Tribe career. My first really good vocal mic I bought was this. When Neumann kind of tried to reissue a transformerless U47, it's called the M147.
Oh yeah.
And this mic gets a lot of hate, but I had fantastic results with it. I really love it. I got some decent preamps and stuff, but I was it was giving me a little noise from time to time, a little bit of sound like moth wings fluttering or something.
Oh yeah, too much condensation on the diaphragm.
You think? Because it doesn't always do it. And I thought, well, I got some projects coming up and I need to be sure that's not going to happen. So I bought this Telefunken, and I really, really love that thing.
Yeah, that sound is usually because the diaphragm has moisture on it. And yeah, I don't know how to fix it. I would just send it to a tech when that would happen. But anyways, that's geeking out. Let's talk about your band, Bruce.
Now that we've lost the audience.
Well, I'm sure Bruce is going to cut all this out. But anyways.
Okay.
We could do whatever. We could leave some, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, we can move it to the end as well. But anyway, so talking about Psychotic Waltz, now that the God-Shaped Void is done and it's set for release, what, like 2 weeks from now? 3 weeks from now?
The 14th of February.
Yeah, so maybe a month. All right, so it's close. How do you feel about it, and are you satisfied with the outcome?
We're all really, really happy with the way this thing came out. You know, we took a lot of time with the songs. We didn't rush it, and we did it. So we created it song by song, really, and like nurtured and argued over every song until everybody was at peace, you know. And now, you know, with this, you know, since I'm pretty much living in this studio, that I get the luxury of building the song in the writing process. I build the performances that you hear. I build that in the writing process.
Right.
And so we can really take our time and really like tweak things and work things and obsess. And then, you know, it's not all for nothing. I don't have to then go do it all again. You know, I'm basically done. They have to do it all again, but not me.
Right.
That's such a cool part about digital recording these days.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Oftentimes I would get the demo done, and then we'd track the drums to the demo, and then once the production was done, I would sometimes get the drummer to redo the parts to the finished product. You know.
Well, actually, I was having a lot of luck doing something similar. You know, from the old school, we used to always record drums first. I mean, and that's how we did this record too. And you build off of the drums. But I found when I'm recording other bands, you know, when you do this stuff with scratch tracks, it's kind of like everybody's playing live, and maybe there's some mistakes, and you just kind of press on. But you don't know who's making the mistakes. And then all of a sudden, when you're tracking later, you have to contend with those mistakes every time they get repeated. And sometimes it is the drummer and you don't know it. And so you live with that drum performance, and then you're building on this whole foundation of mistakes. So I like what I find works really well. It's similar to what we did is, say if you use drum programming, you know, click track, and because we always play to a click track anyway, and you build from a MIDI drum mock-up, and you play all the guitars and stuff, and then when you have all the instruments done, you can then, they're all going to be tight because you took the time to track them right, and there's no mistakes left in, and you played to a drum that was like really on.
Yeah.
So then you can take those drums away and then record a real drummer, and you're home free. To me, this seems like a really efficient way of getting it done, and getting it done like really tight. Yeah. And we sort of did it that way. I mean, sometimes Dan and Brian would use a drum machine, or, you know, drum program, and demonstrate the rhythms, but Norm they would record everything out there in the jam room, just in their practice room, but they'd, you know, mic up all the drums and stuff, and get me these multi-tracks, and, you know, they don't have any acoustic treatment in the room or anything like that, so it's you know, with those kind of recordings, they're usable, but you got to really labor over them to get them to sound anything, you know, presentable. So, you know, I spent a lot of time doing that too, and then then I would like write my part over it, and when my part is all in place, I do the best mix I can, and then then we say, okay, these songs are finished finally after a lot of back and forth, and then we take those tracks and record the drums over them again they record to the demo.
Yeah.
We build the parts from there, like normal redo the drums in the studio. We used Ulrich Wild as an engineer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was awesome. And and yeah, he got a really great drum sound, and Norm and Ward played live together. And then when they had that in the can, then they just redid the guitars real quick. And then I got these tracks back, and then I just kind of flew all my vocals in from the original sessions. I just flew them in, and then decided from there whether it held up or not, and some of the stuff I ended up re-singing, and even one song I wrote new lyrics. I changed my mind about the lyrics and wrote them. I had about 2 weeks to do this before I had to get it to Jens Bogren to mix. And so I'm recording whatever vocals I'm going to re-record or changing whatever I'm going to change in these last 2 weeks. And at the same time, rehearsing for gigs. We had this Prog Power USA in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had Prog Power Europe the following month, and a small little tour that went along with that. And during all this time preparing for these gigs, I'm also recording vocals, so it was a real stretch, singing a lot like you do in the studio, and then still trying to rehearse for a concert. So it was probably a little too much.
Can I ask you why didn't you mix the record? Why did you get someone else to mix it?
I would have wanted to, actually. I would have liked to have had the band come out here, in fact, and I'd like to have had Norm record his drums here. I have a pretty decent sounding room. And that would have been like a nice notch in my own belt, to have basically produced this record, myself. But the opportunity of having someone like Ulrich Wild do the recording is probably smart, and certainly easier for them because they don't have to come out here and live here for however long.
Yeah,
right.
But also like to have someone like Jens Bogren do the mixing.
Yeah,
would also really inform me like what really could be possible with these recordings, because now I'm sitting here with these multi-tracks. I have the same multi-tracks that Yen has. They came to me. I put them in the proper order, with all my vocals finalized and all that stuff. Sent those tracks to him. He mixed it, but I still have these tracks. And now I can kind of like school myself a little bit and like kind of one day open this up and kind of like see what I can get out of it, and try to mix it myself just for fun, and then like listen to what he'd done and listen to what I've done and see, oh my God, is there this huge gap, and if there is, and I assume that there would be, that I could kind of work on closing that gap and see where those differences are. It'd be a really unique perspective.
Right.
That's
So
really
I think
cool.
I think that it would be a no-brainer for the quality of the album to have a top guy do it. I would rather mix it myself than have some other guy mixing, some other studio guy who I don't know. But if there's somebody who's like a really proven entity, it seemed like a smart move just for the album's sake. But also there was that advantage that it would help me with my own education in record production.
Right. That makes sense.
And how did you end up in Austria from California?
Well, love will do that to a man. Yeah.
Did you say love will do that to a man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yep.
I'm in DC, but I came from Vancouver, Canada. So
Oh, wow.
it's a long ways away, but love will do that to you.
Yeah. Yeah. In my case, it turned out not to last much once we got here, but since then, I found a new a wife, and now I have a family and kids and all that stuff. So it's a little weird that I ended up on the other side of the planet. But but once I have all these kids, I have 6 kids. So
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
and this is all under the same roof here. And so once I find myself with this, then I figure, well, I guess that's how life is now. I'm out here. That's it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you guys have any plans to do a proper tour, or is it mostly just like one-offs here and there?
Well, I think we have to kind of do some sort of touring just to make it even some sort of viable, financially viable, because one gig, if it's a good gig, then we kind of take the hit and do it. But otherwise, we need to play several gigs just to kind of make some of this money back, because the plane flights alone.
Oh, yeah.
All this money. So just to get it to even pay off, we have to everybody's got to take their vacation times in, and we go and hit the road. I think we're going to do this in October in out here in Europe.
Oh,
Okay, cool. So that's a little after the festival circuit then, right?
Yeah. We're talking. I mean, I don't know what I should say, because I thought that we were going to be too late for the festivals this summer, but it looks like one is getting discussed right now. That's a pretty darn good one, and a pretty darn good. And so we'll see how that goes. I really hope that we can do it.
How hard is it to get got people from America, like the proper paperwork to get over to Europe and tour?
Well, I think they only need a passport, really. And as long as they're not staying longer than, I guess, 3 months, that they can come and do that. It's never been any sort of legal issue.
That's so different.
Yeah.
I know.
Man. Yeah, because we were just talking in the last podcast that we just recorded before you, and to go from Canada to America, or America to Canada, or America to Mexico, there's all these kind of legal hurdles, as you know, that you have to kind of jump through, and it costs a lot of money to get all that done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess, some sort of mafia, they want their piece of the pie.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Bruce?
I was just gonna say, so let me just go back to the writing process for a second. Is there something you want your fans to take away from after listening to a Psychotic Waltz record?
Well, there's a lot of layers to that, like if you're talking about like lyrically and stuff like this. But basically what I really want is just people to get either tears or goosebumps at some point. And if we can achieve that, that to me is the highest that music can bring a person, And so I'm trying to just kind of reach for that. Just it's a emotional response.
Okay. And lastly, all I have left is, you've been at this for, like we talked about, a long time. So obviously you've got generations of fans coming to see your shows. That must be pretty cool to see, people like my age bring in their kids and the next generation to see a Psychotic Waltz show, right?
Well, we'll see how that goes. People come from a long way, but right now we're kind of experiencing it on a little different level. It's not so much that it's being handed down, at least not that I can see, but when we did this Power of Metal tour, that was kind of the litmus test, because we didn't even know if we had a fan base still. I mean, I knew there was somebody out there, but I didn't know if it was like it used to be.
Right.
And so when we did Power of Metal, that was the perfect chance to kind of find out, because we wouldn't fall on our asses, because there's Symphony X and Nevermore on the bill. And, there's going to be an audience there no matter what. So,
right.
And what we found was that we were able to kind of reach out and pull from that audience. And there were some of our fans, you can call them, they were there, but it was more about pulling new people, and it seemed a lot easier to do it this time around. We used to not have that kind of ease. We would play big festivals, and it wouldn't be a life-changing event. It would still be our little clique, and then we'd play in front of all these people who, well, I guess maybe they enjoy it, or maybe they're indifferent to it, or whatever. But it wasn't like new people coming, going, "Wow!" But on Power of Metal, it was like some 20-year-old person. I mean, every single concert this would happen, where someone would come up to us and they'd say, "Wow, I never heard of you before. I came to see, I don't know, this band or that band." And, but they would have all of our CDs in their hand, like all four of them. Like, "Wow, but you guys, I just bought all your CDs."
That's cool.
And
hey, man, thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. Good luck with the record.
Thank you. You're very welcome, by the way.
And hopefully, maybe you'll get a chance to play the U.S. and we'll get to see you over here.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Awesome.
All right, man. Be well.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. And now they're grown up, and they kind of get this music right away. And so it's kind of encouraging, and it was that made us decide, hey, maybe this is worth doing, and that's when we decided to, make another album and press on.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yeah. So cool.
Anything else? Anything else, Kris?
I don't, man. Thanks for taking the time with us today. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the technical conversation too.
Oh yeah, I can go off on that shit.